What's up guys, girls, and police officers? There are 22 official Geometry Dash levels in the base game that get more complex as they progress, since they release with new updates that add new features. And as you likely know, most things are deadly to the cube. Run into a wall? Dead. Land on a spike? Dead. Fall upwards into space? Well, I mean, that one maybe makes a little bit more sense. But as a person, I'd like to think that I'm a little bit more physically capable than the cube. So today, I'll be ranking the official RobTop levels based on how likely it is that I could survive them as a person. So yeah, we've got 22 levels to get through. I have a tier list that I'll be using. So yeah, let's just get started. So I think we all know Stairman is easy street. We're assuming as well that I think that the standard unit of measurement is usually like a meter, but here's the thing. I'm like this tall, and I think I could definitely, you know what, hold on, I'm gonna test this out myself. Yeah, no, I could absolutely jump more than 3 feet. So I definitely think I could clear these. I think I could even clear a triple spike if I really got like a running start. So the scale isn't something I want to worry about too much here. And then like this kind of thing too, right? Because you have to remember, as a person, I'm not auto-scrolling, right? I could take my time here. I can reach over here, I can try to get a good hold on it and just climb up. So there's gonna be a lot of places where I think as a human, I definitely have an advantage. Okay, so the ship, here's the thing, right? Obviously, this is not a vehicle that exists in real life, so I'm not too sure how to rank this. My assumption is that it's sort of like a car, but it's like a flying car that I'm driving. And since the only control is going up or down, if I'm controlling it like the ship, right? Like if I have like maybe like a gas pedal that goes up, and if I let go, it goes down. I definitely think I could do this, because honestly, you only really have to click like 4 times in this ship section. You know, something you only have to click once. That subscribe button, baby! Yeah! Because we absolutely demolished 200K, and now we're setting our sights on 300K. Let's go! Alright, back to ranking. So I think that I could manage the ship section. I don't think the ship section would be necessarily a deal breaker here. I think harder ship sections will make things more challenging, but I think at least for the early ship sections, especially ones where you can ride on the floor and ceiling, I would probably be fine there. I could get the secret coin. I could even make some bank here. And like I said, again, these jumps aren't as scary as they look. You know, I could walk right up to the edge, really get a good jump over and grab with my hands. Now, don't get me wrong, jumps like that are probably more challenging for me than they are for the cube. Because honestly, if you really consider the cube, he's jumping 2 blocks up. Like, here's the thing, I could probably jump pretty far lengthwise. This guy's jumping 6 feet in the air. So there are some things that the cube can survive that maybe I couldn't. And again, here's the thing, right? We got triple spike. It is squished together as well, though. So I think I could jump high enough and definitely far enough to probably clear this. This is probably like 7 or 8 feet, and I think I could manage this. Especially, what do the hitboxes look like? Guessing too, because of the hitboxes, I might even be able to tiptoe between the spikes. So we gotta consider that. I am playing the same game as the cube with the same limitations. And then again here, I think I could manage to get through this part. And again, especially too, because I'm not being forced to auto-scroll, so I could take my time navigating through. I'm basically playing this in platform mode, because if you really think about it, real life is kind of just one big platformer mode level. So yeah. So as far as our tier list goes, I'm gonna put Stereo Madness in the I would survive tier. Back on track. Now things get a little bit harder here, namely because of pads. So pads are something. Now here's the thing, right? This is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-ish, maybe 5 blocks up. That's like 12 to 15 feet up. Now, don't get me wrong, this wouldn't break my legs. I could live this. And again, because I'm in platform mode, I can take my time. So even if my legs do hurt a little bit here, I could wait. Like, I could wait here for a little bit and regain my composure. I'm just saying, I've played on a lot of playgrounds as a kid, and I've made some very stupid jumps in my life. So I feel like I probably have jumped from around 10 to 12 feet before. And honestly, if you really think about it, that's only 2 of me. So this, it seems scary to a person, but in all honesty, 15 feet isn't that high. You know, like most houses, even single-story houses are probably taller than 15 feet. So we're gonna say I could definitely probably live that kind of a thing, especially because most pads don't drop you straight on the ground like this. We're landing a block higher, so we're getting flung 15 feet in the air, but we're only dropping 12. Now with stuff like this, there does come with some accuracy concerns, like how accurately would I be able to actually land on this? That is true. So, because that's the thing too, the cube is always moving forwards. In real life, there's like air resistance and keeping your momentum and stuff that comes into question. So jumps that are like this specifically, especially because we're going down more, this is like 18 feet of falling, and having to move this far forward. We're having to go 18 feet down and 18 feet over. So this one might be a little hairy. If we assume like no air resistance, I could probably do it. That's a big fall. Okay, luckily the ship sections are all very easy though still. Yeah, I'm not too terribly sure about that one. I don't think it's an instant fail, but at least for now, I'm probably gonna put back on track in the maybe tier. Because I don't think it's impossible, but there's definitely some factors that make me unsure. Okay, so Polargeist really depends on how these orbs actually work. I'm gonna assume that maybe it's like, I slap them or something and it boosts me up, which I could do. Now here's the thing too, orbs obviously don't bounce you as high. They're basically just a regular jump for the cube, so there isn't gonna really be any fall damage concerns this time. This ship section would probably be deadly if I was an auto-scroller, but because I'm a person and I don't have to forcibly move to the right, I think I could inch my way through that. It might take some time, but I think we could do it. Other than that, this is actually a pretty safe looking level so far. As long as you don't go over the third coin. If you go over the third coin, you'll probably die. Not too bad. There actually was a singular spike gap there that I'd probably have to crawl under, but I could man it. Like this. I'd probably have to crawl under this because I can't stand, because I'm, you know, being 6 feet tall, I'd be 2 blocks tall. So I'd probably have to crawl under these kinds of things. But honestly, not too bad. Really, I think I got better chances at Polargeist than I do at Back on Track, honestly. Dry out. So, Tryout introduces upside downness, which I'm not terribly sure about. So, for the sake of this video, we're gonna assume that yes, it does actually flip me upside down, and I'm upside down, I can deal with that. So, like, yes, like in this situation, my gravity is in fact upside down. I can walk around. It's not like, oh man, I'm just walking along the bottom here. Yeah, no, I do actually flip gravity. I'm gonna say that it wouldn't be disorientating necessarily, but, you know, the blood will probably start rushing to my head, so I probably am going to want to get out of this section as quickly as possible. And luckily it's pretty simple. Even though I'm upside down, I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt, say my vision is probably right side up still, you know, so it's not like it's really hard to tell what I'm doing, but it's uncomfortable probably. The rest of this level is actually pretty chill. Okay, so this is where ship parts get a little bit harder, because we can chill on the floor here, but not here. So I would have to do a lot of tapping to keep myself in the air, which might be a bit trickier. Yeah, so yeah, dry out is it's not a guaranteed survival, obviously, but I don't think the upside downness and the ship sections are hard enough to guarantee that I wouldn't survive. I'm gonna put dry out in the I'd probably survive. Base after base, the most forgettable RobTop level in history. Let's see if you would kill me. It's honestly just like a slightly harder Stereo Madness kind of vibe. So it's dark out, but I can still see the outlines, so we're good. Again, these ship sections are a little harder than we're used to, but you can fly up through here, just hold down this entire part. And this upside down section is probably a little bit harder than the one in dry out, just because there's a lot more, well, I don't know, there's a bit more back and forth, but it is shorter, so maybe it evens out. Okay, yeah, so base after base with the harder ship parts and the upside down section that is shorter, but maybe a little bit more confusing. I think that basically earns it the same. I'd probably survive. All right, can't let go. Love this level, big fan of this level. Let's see what would happen. Ooh, that's a fall. What is that? 1, 2... That's like 22 feet, honestly, but we'll ignore that for now. I could probably do that. 22 feet, it's not that far. All right, so the ship section really does ramp up here. You got to avoid a lot more obstacles. You have to have a fair bit more precise flying compared to what we're used to, and then straight into an upside down cube part, which is actually also quite confusing. I don't know about this one, guys. Yeah, and then there's a triple spike at the end. It's just... oh man, it's a lot. Yeah, so I don't really know. Honestly, I think the ship sections are a fair bit harder, and the upside down part is longer than dry out, and it's definitely more difficult. I think Can't Let Go is our hardest one so far. Honestly, I'd probably die in real life. Okay, so jumper is... It's more confusing in an auto-scroller like this than I think it would be otherwise. Because there's a lot of jumps where it's like, I don't know if I can make this, so I don't know if I have to jump or not jump. But you can take your time in real life, so I don't think it's too bad. We have upside down ship, but it is fairly easy. And the upside down parts come in shorter bursts, so it's more bearable, I'd say. Then again, we got upside down, but it ends fairly quickly. Certainly a harder ship part. Probably pretty close to in difficulty to Can't Let Go. But these cube parts really aren't much of a challenge, I think. And then again, you know, these jumps are more confusing to a new GD player, but, you know, if you're in real life, you can take your sweet time on these jumps. So I don't think that'd be too bad, honestly. I'm gonna put jumper in I'd probably survive. Okay, time machine, the level of all time. We got upside down triple spikes, which is something. And we've just got a lot of triple spikes in general. The rest of the cube gameplay isn't too bad. Okay, so the question really comes into play is what the hell would the mirror portal do in real life? I mean, I guess it would just like, maybe from my perspective, it would just flip the level around. So like, I'm walking, right? I'm walking from point A to point B. I hit the mirror portal and I'm still facing the same direction, but all of a sudden point A and point B have swapped places, something like that. I don't know. It'd be a little confusing, but honestly, I don't think the mirror portal will be as bad in real life as it is in GD. In GD, it switches where you have to look, but in real life, like, you've got a full, like, 180 degrees of vision, so I don't think it'd be too bad, because you have much more vision and control over where you're looking when you're in first person. Now, that ship section was also fairly difficult. Again, obviously I can take my time, but it is still difficult. It is hard to gauge some of these things because obviously I'm playing this as an auto-scroller, and in real life, as I've said a bunch of times already, I can take my time. I don't have to be forced to the right. So it's hard to gauge how difficult some of these things would be in platformer, aka real life, but it is definitely a more compact level. It's definitely difficult. I'm gonna put it in maybe. Cycles, a level that is potentially harder than Time Machine. I feel like opinions are kind of split on this. I honestly don't know which one I find harder. Probably Cycles, honestly, because of all the fake orbs. But again, since I have to go to my way to hit orbs in real life, it's pretty easy to avoid all the fake orbs. Okay. Well, maybe this is an I die, because I just died in GD. Now, the ball. Again, this is another situation where it really depends how this works for me. I'm imagining that I'm in sort of one of those, like, gyro ball kind of things where it rolls, but I'm upright the whole time. Because if I was spinning around in circles the whole time I was in this thing like I'm in a washing machine, I'd absolutely die, because that'd be super confusing and disorientating. But assuming that I'm in some sort of a gyro contraption where the ball can roll, but I am always upright, I don't think it'd be too bad. So I don't think this gameplay is too bad. This might be a little difficult, just this maneuver, but I don't think this is too bad otherwise. Now, this ship section is a fair bit more brutal than what we've seen before. I'm not sure about that one. And then we've got more ball, it's tighter, it's mirrored. I don't know. There's a lot to factor in here. I don't think the ball sections on their own are too bad, but in tandem with everything else, think about it like this, right? Can't Let Go is currently the hardest thing right now in the I'd probably die tier. I think Cycles is so much harder than that. I am going to be honest with you, just because the ball sections aren't as beginner friendly as they otherwise could be, and the ship sections are very difficult to try and maneuver in real life. Honestly, I would probably most likely die in Cycles. I don't know if I could beat Cycles in real life. xStep, here we go. A little short upside down part, not too bad. And then we've got ball gameplay, which in my opinion is easier than Cycles. Honestly, it's more intro friendly. So this is definitely a little bit more confusing, but I don't think that it's deadly if I take my time. That might be a little hard, just that back-to-back. And then this ship part, you know, it's difficult. It's probably Time Machine level. It's not necessarily Cycles level. But the hazards are certainly getting more ferocious now. xStep, I'm gonna throw you in... I'm gonna say it's as hard as Time Machine, but it's more confusing to do in person, so I'd probably die. Clutterfunk. Alright, we got saw blades in the mix now, so it's a more gruesome way to go out. Now, the mini portal, it does just shrink me down, and the level is built around that, you know? It's a smaller saw blade, smaller jump. So again, for all intents and purposes, in these mini sections, I may as well just be normal. I'm smaller, obviously, but since the whole level is smaller, we don't really need to give any special thought to this. And smaller things honestly seem like they take less fall damage, so being small is honestly beneficial to me. Now this ship part is, it's something. Here's the thing. Spikes are not as deadly to me as they are to this cube, right? So stuff like that ball part and that ship part aren't as bad as they seem. They're hard, yes, but I don't think I would immediately disintegrate if a spike slightly touches me. It would hurt, obviously. I'd cut myself. But as long as I don't, like, fall onto one at terminal velocity, I probably wouldn't die immediately. So that's fine and good. But parts like this, these are spinning saw blades. These things will tear me in half. The cube doesn't discriminate, right? A spike is a saw is a gear. All these things just kill you the same way. But as a person, these saw blades are infinitely more scary than spikes are. And that ship part is quite difficult to maneuver with them. And then we have this part. This part is a lot to keep straight in your head, especially because there's not that many platforms between these orbs, so there's not many resting points. So, honest to God, Clutterfunk was probably like an I'd survive without a doubt until we got into that ship part with all the saw blades. Every part after that basically solidified this as an I'd die. Theory of everything. Not as bad, I would argue. Like, yes, there's this, which is hard. It's hard to deal with, but you can rest on the floor here. Take your time to fly up here. Obviously, you can see the right way to go. I don't think the ship parts are as bad. It's not a guaranteed survival, but it's definitely not as hard. And then again, considering how the UFO would work in real life, I'm gonna assume that I am literally sitting in a UFO, and if there's like a button or a gas pedal or a lever or something that I would pull that would make it bounce up again. I don't think this would be too bad, especially with minimum clicks. Like, you can get through these with fairly little clicks. This ball is a bit confusing, but honestly, by this point, we're probably pretty good. That's something to factor in too, is the later levels have a bit of a disadvantage in the difficulty department because I'll have probably learned by now. You know, if you're throwing really hard stuff at me, I can't let go, I'm just gonna die. But if you're throwing hard stuff at me in Clubstep, I might have a better shot because I've already experienced this. I know what to deal with. This is assuming I've survived up to this point. So those parts I don't think are too bad. Honestly, this level is easier than Clutterfunk, in my opinion. And we can take our time through here because running into walls doesn't kill us because we're not being forced to the right. TOE, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but honestly, honest to God, I think I'd probably survive. Electroman, we got more saw blades galore, and we got breakable blocks, which is very fun. Now this ship part is quite deadly. There's basically nowhere you can just rest until you get over to here. So that's quite deadly. And we have a lot of swapping gravity here. I'd probably get a concussion from that part alone. And again, UFO, honestly, I don't think this is too bad. I just think that in real life, UFO is inherently an easier game mode to control than the ship, because all you have to do is like press a button or something. You have one input. With the ship, it matters how long you hold for and release and stuff too. So it's just more complicated. Okay. Honestly, I don't feel like playing this again, and I think we've had enough already. I mean, we all know the ending ball part. It's harder than the ball parts we've seen before, honestly, especially in real life because there's gaps in between. I think Electroman is harder than TOE. I don't think it's a guaranteed death sentence, though. I think maybe I'd survive. Clubstep. First demon. Now, I hate to say it, guys, but if I were doing this in real life, I'd probably not go for the first coin. It just seems riskier. These invisible blocks or something, but if I stared at them long enough, I'd probably get the jump fine. This ship part, though, all the ship parts in this level, in fact, are quite brutal. With the invisible spikes, it's a bit more precision than I think I could be bothered to ask for. Ball parts aren't, like, too crazy bad, but they're still infinitely harder than anything we've seen up to this point. Yeah, it's just, these ship parts are real precise. Got gravity changing inside the ship parts. Ball parts have all sorts of fake walls. There's just really nowhere you can chill. So being in platform mode essentially doesn't really provide us many advantages. And yeah, honestly, I think it kind of goes without saying. I die. Electrodynamix. First part's not too bad. So again, we're gonna assume that speed changes do just make me faster. They don't make me jump higher, they just make me faster, which is fine. So we have to consider that these jumps ain't really that difficult for me anymore. Honestly, I don't think that blue orb combo would be too bad. The invisible blocks, it'd be a bit hard. This ship, you can rest here, so we don't have to get through a ton without dying. And these are also thinner spikes, like the smaller spikes, so they probably wouldn't do as much damage to me. This UFO part is something. Certainly hard, but I don't think it's completely detrimental. Dude, I clicked. Then we get to this part, the infamous ship part. Now again, we got thin spikes there, so I don't think we do as much damage, but it's still hard. This part's really fast. You could inch your way through it, but it'd probably be hard to inch because of your triple speed. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it's definitely difficult. And then this part, which honestly, there are resting spots in this that I think we could abuse. Now, it's much closer in difficulty to Clubstep in GD, but in real life, I think it's a fair bit easier, honestly. I literally, like, I'd probably die, right? But I think that I've got a fighting shot at least, and that's kind of cope, because again, I probably die, but I don't think I'm guaranteed to die. Hexagon Force, my goat. So we have to talk about how we think slopes would work in real life. Now, there are slopes in real life. So, question is whether or not I'm guaranteed to be able to climb them. I think I could climb all slopes except for the really, like, steep ones, right? Like, these slopes, if they were rotated, I probably couldn't climb that because it's like a 70-degree gradient, but I could climb the 45-degree ones. I could climb the 22.5-degree ones. That's fine. So then we have to talk about how the hell this would work in real life. Now, I'm gonna take the approach and say that because when you play duels, a lot of times in levels, you tend to really only focus on one icon anyways. I'm gonna say that in your perspective as a person here, you are still the bottom one, right? You're still the primary icon. But this portal makes a copy of you up top that you can control, but you're not seeing the world from the perspective of. So you're basically playing primary icon in first person and the secondary icon in third person. So that'd be a little confusing. I think that I could get through that part pretty easily. It would just take me a really long time. Like, I think I'd actually be contemplating these jumps for so long. And this UFO part's not too bad. Then we get to this. I don't know about that one. Honestly, the hardest part of the entire level, it's the biggest deal breaker, because the rest of the level really ain't that hard. I don't know if I can get through that dual ball. It's very short, but it's just very compact, and the inputs are very dense and unintuitive. And then this final dual ship, it's kind of a walk in the park. It's not that bad. So here's the thing. Hexagon Force probably was going to be an I'd probably survive, honestly, until we got to the dual ball. That dual ball probably puts it in the maybe tier. I definitely think I'd have a better shot at surviving Hexagon Force than like Electrodynamix or something, but it's uncertain. Blast processing. This level has a harder rating instead of insane, so even RobTop puts it as easier than most of the previous levels. Now, new game mode means a new way to think about how this works in real life. Again, I'm gonna assume that I'm in something similar to a car that moves at 45-degree angles, and, you know, if I step on the gas, it moves up, and if I let go, it moves down. It's basically just the ship, but at a more harsh angle, you know? So I don't think that this would necessarily be too hard, assuming I knew how it worked already. If I didn't know how this worked initially, I'd probably die. But assuming I know what's coming, as a person who's been playing GD for 10 years, I could probably manage this, especially because look at how few clicks I have to do. Ball part is quite easy as well. We got another pretty easy wave. Now this wave part is completely symmetrical, so even if I thought it was scary, I'd probably get through it just because of the symmetry. We got a lot of resting points in these sections. Yeah, so we got the invisible block maze at the end, but you can actually see which blocks are real based on the color, so it's not even fully invisible. So I don't think that'd be that difficult, honestly, in person. Honestly, given the experience I'd have at this point and the fact that the sections are very beginner friendly, I honestly think I would survive blast processing pretty fairly. DOE2 is another story, on the other hand. This is a lot of clicking, you know? It's a lot of clicking in the UFO. It's a lot of gravity changing. It's a lot to keep track of. A lot of invisible blocks. This level loves invisible blocks. A lot of pathways to choose from. A lot of fake stuff. Obviously, I know which ones are real and fake, but it's still very input dense, you know? Now, here's the thing. I think that TOE2 relies a lot on confusion with all the fake orbs and the invisible blocks and stuff, and I think that's what makes up a lot of its difficulty. And here we go. You see, I can't. I think that the invisible blocks are what make up a lot of this level's difficulty. So they try to confuse you. So it wouldn't be that hard for me because I know the correct path, obviously. And I could take my time through parts like this. It's hard, but when you think about it, a lot of these are blocks that I can land on. I think that TOE2 is more confusing than Clubstep, but because I know the route, honestly, honestly, I don't think I would have as hard of a chance getting through it. I'm gonna put it in the I die tier still, but I'm gonna put it higher up. Like, I'm gonna honestly put it here, you know, if we do this ranking within tiers thing, where honestly, I think I have a better chance at surviving ToE 2 than Clutterfunk. So, Geometrical Dominator, another harder level instead of insane. Now, the robot, I'm gonna assume the robot is just me with, like, Air Jordans on or something. Like, I'm gonna assume that it's just me, but I can jump higher. Maybe I got, like, spring-loaded shoes on or something. Maybe I got the jump coil from Roblox on. Easy enough to consider. And, you know, we can slide on all these slopes. I don't know why I did that. That's the thing, too. We could wait for the moving objects as well to open up. We don't have to run at them before they open. So I think patience is key to surviving Geometrical Dominator, honestly. Alright, so we're coming up on the part of all time. Now, here is my thing. I don't think this would be too bad, because, like I said, I could just wait for the blocks to light up, right, in order to see them. But here's the thing. The blocks don't light up forever. They do actually light up multiple times. If you look in the editor, these blocks use the same color channels, so they do light up multiple times, but I don't have infinite chances to get through this as quickly as possible. I think that this I would have a hard time getting through, especially assuming that I only have one attempt. Like, this wouldn't be too bad, I guess, if I had the option to be alive here and just restart and go back to the beginning and get to here again to learn the next part. But if I only had one try, I just had to do it. Because of the way that triggers work in GD, I think this would be hard. Unless we consider the possibility that they don't activate until I get to their, like, X position, right? So say this platform lights up as soon as we hit the normal portal. If I'm pausing out here, then it wouldn't light up ever because I haven't crossed the normal portal. If that was the case, this would be pretty easy because I could see the platform, I could just move platform to platform. I'm gonna go on a middle ground there and say that it's harder than doing that, but it's easier than having to just gun it. So this part probably isn't as difficult as it would be for the cube, but it's not as easy as it could be. It's not as easy as it could be for me. Yeah, so pretty easy, except for the memory part. And like I said, I don't think the memory part would be as difficult for me, depending on how you look at it, as it would be for the cube. So I'm gonna put Geometrical Dominator in the I'd probably survive tier. Oh boy, Deadlocked. Is there even a point in talking about this level? Honestly, I think my best bet for Deadlocked in real life would be to just gun it and treat it like an auto-scroller. I don't think that taking my time in this level would really serve me all that well, because it's hard. A lot of moving objects, a lot of teleport portals, a lot of strange, peculiar timings. Yeah, then we got the boss fight part, of course, which, honestly, I feel like I could survive. I think I could see the tells for them. I could see the dotted lines, and I think I could get out of the way. This part, however, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, Chief. And then we have this part, of course, which I'm really not sure about. Deadlocked is, again, it is absolutely an I'd die. The question is whether it's harder than Clubstep. The answer is yes. Now, Fingerdash, we've got a very stylized thing here. These grass platforms are nice and soft. Fireballs are quite dangerous. I mentioned when we had saw blades and gears in the mix that they're more dangerous than spikes. Magma and fire and all that stuff is more detrimental than even that, so that's fine. But honestly, so far, this level is not too bad. This level is not the hardest thing in the world to live through. I'd probably be quite sweaty by the end of this, because of all the hot lava around. But here's the thing now with the spider. Again, I'm gonna assume this is a vehicle sort of similar, not to the ball, but like it flips gravity like the ball. But I'm gonna assume that it's sort of just like me flipping upside down, right? It's like flipping upside down combined with the teleport portal. So what I think is I'd be right side up and I'd click, and then my vision would be fine, but you know, it'd be uncomfortable because I'm upside down. And all of a sudden I'd be on the ceiling. So I don't think Spider would be too hard to maneuver in real life, but it'd be a little more confusing than like the ball or something probably. Now these ship parts are fine. I could wait for the timings in these fire bars to avoid them, I think. And then this robot part is also quite easy. This wave isn't too bad. It's very clearly choreographed. It's not as tight as Deadlocked or anything, so I think I could live this. This might be biased just because I'm really familiar with this level and I could probably do it blindfolded. But I'm really not feeling too bad about Fingerdash. It's pretty easy, honestly. You could debate whether or not it even deserves to be insane rated. Honestly, I don't know if I'm not gonna give it an I'd survive for sure, but it's probably near the top of I'd probably survive. And finally, we get to Dash. So here's the thing. In real life, camera controls mean nothing because it's all from a first-person view. However, walking on walls would affect me from a first-person view. So here's the thing. I think this would be a little confusing. It'd be hard to get used to, and I'd probably take my sweet time getting through this. I don't think it's detrimental, though. I don't think I'd instantly die. I don't think it'd throw me off that much. I think, because I know this level too, probably take my time to see how it feels to walk to the wall and flip, see how it feels to be on the wall, flip again, see how it feels, and then walk back right side up. It'd probably be a very slow and gentle process, and it'd probably take a while, but I don't think it would kill me. Now the swing copter, I like to think of it similarly to the ball, where it's sort of a gyro kind of thing, where I stay upright in the capsule of the swing copter. We're sideways again, and here's the thing, right? The camera controls are a little deceiving, because even though right now it looks like we are upside down, we're actually right side up in the level. So this would be fine. This would be maybe a little hard because of the low visibility of seeing where I'm going to be going, but again, we can inch our way through this and get to safety. And then again, camera controls are kind of deceiving here because obviously I probably wouldn't be able to see the entirety of this one screen just from looking around. I don't even want to imagine what this part is like for me as a person. And I don't think the ship is too bad, especially if we take our time through it. Then we got this part, which honestly, all things considered, this gameplay is really not that difficult. It's easier than a lot of what we've done in the previous levels already. And then we take our home free ride to the end. So I think that this is pretty similar in difficulty to Fingerdash, honestly. It's just the gameplay itself is probably a little easier, but it's more confusing, I think. So I'm honestly probably gonna put it right near Fingerdash in the I'd probably survive. I don't think I'd die, but I also think it'd be a little confusing. I'd probably have to take my sweet time to get through it, and yeah, touching lasers is a no-go. So yeah, with that said and done, here is my final tier list for how well I think I could survive the official levels as a person. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Let me know if you think there's any details I might have not pondered well enough in the video about certain levels, any things that you think that I'm wrong on, that I definitely would die on, any counterpoints, like, oh, maybe you would actually survive this, or how you guys think you might even fare in the official levels. Maybe even think about the spin-off games. I didn't want to cover those because that would make the video really long. Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. And yeah, different kind of video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. This video was inspired by this video from this guy named Jace TV on Mario Party minigames, so go give it a watch if you like Mario Party. And yeah, special thanks to all channel members including Village, Gatto, Invdu, Manager Magalore, Quality History 47, SSF, Laugh GMD, and Byron Nguyen. Thank you guys so much for all support. It means the absolute world to me, and I'm going to try to have some new member-only content coming out for you guys in the next day or two. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys all in the next video.